Hello and welcome to Boomer Live. We are here for the World Cup final. We are going to be previewing the World Cup final. As you all know, England have won the toss already and they have put Pakistan to bat. Pakistanis will be really feeling that it is a repeat of 1992 as Pakistan batted first, even then when Pakistan had won the toss back then. But that's a different case altogether, guys. Pakistan are batting first. That's the reference. Kudat Khan and the reference. But nonetheless, big toss for England to win. Rain is around. It's overcast
Yeah.
conditions. So it is going to be important for Pakistan to start out well. I have Jaren with me. Welcome on the show, Jaren. How excited are you about this final? Because you know, in a final, winning the toss is so important mentally and to also understand how conditions are going to be. And you want what you really want to have, what you really need, right? And England really knows that they can outbat any team in this World Cup, and their bowling attack is not the strongest. So henceforth, Pakistan are batting now.
Yeah, I mean, here's how important toss has been in T20 World Cup finals, right? It's the fact that I think every team except for maybe Pakistan once when they lost in the final has won the T20 tournament when they have won the toss in the final. So right now, advantage England, you would say, just because based on that stat, but then we all know, especially this World Cup, the trend has been the other way around. The toss has really been the reason why teams have lost their matches, majority of the matches in this tournament. It's going to be very interesting though, because this World Cup has, I think, been one of the most exciting World Cups in a long time. I know there's some recency bias when we say this, but ever since I think 2007, I don't think anyone's been this interested or this excited for a T20 World Cup final because, I mean, that World Cup was itself somewhere we saw a lot of upsets. Back then India was not a strong team. India beat Australia. We saw how Pakistan was a force to be reckoned with in that tournament. And this time around, you're seeing the same kind of excitement. Obviously, not because it's
Yeah.
an India-Pakistan final, unfortunately, but definitely because this World Cup has produced some of the best moments. I mean, who would have thought that Ireland, after they beat, England rather, when they got beaten against
Yeah.
Ireland, and then Pakistan when they were beaten by Zimbabwe, those are the two teams that are going to end up in the finals because those were
Yeah.
two of the biggest upsets in this year's tournament. But
Yeah.
still, credit to the two teams. They're peaking at the right time. Babar and Rizwan came to the party against New Zealand, and now Alex Hales, Josh Butler. But I think certainly the worry for both the teams is going to be the middle order batting. I think Pakistan
Yeah.
and England as well, and that's where I feel wickets in the power play. So whoever gets more wickets in the
I
power play, I
still
feel
think this game is also
much.
going to be decided on the power play because when we talk
Yeah,
about Pakistan, they are also J3 starters, and with overcast conditions, if they're going to lose a couple of wickets there, England are will be right on top of Pakistan in these conditions. And Chris Wokes was a very good swing bowler. Sam Curran can swing the ball a little bit, and that is where Pakistan will have their worries if they are going to lose a couple of wickets, especially their top two, Babar and Rizwan, because in a stage where they want to set a target, Babar and Rizwan's involvement gets even more important. Because the moment they lose two wickets in a World Cup final, it's a different ballgame. In a league stage match, like they did lose 4 wickets to South Africa, but Pakistan did not really believe that at that time they could make it to the next round. Here is an
yeah.
opportunity, isn't it?
I mean, you have to also understand in that particular match, South Africa were a bit unlucky because it started to rain at the wrong time for South Africa. The ball became, equivalent to a soap, I suppose, a slippery slope. I mean, a soap rather, where you can't control it in your hands, let alone throw it at 150 kilometers per hour on the other end. And we saw even the fielders making a lot of mistakes. So maybe that was the right time for them. Today, although you will argue that if Pakistan loses that many wickets, it's not going to be as easy for Pakistan to rebuild because, as I mentioned, that rain at that particular time really contributed to South Africa's terrible ball. I would not say terrible, but rather the ball really not being on the lens that South African ballers were looking at, and also the fielding as well. They did let go of a lot of catches towards the end. So I think in that fashion, today, if the rain stays away, which by the way actually is one of the things that Josh Butler said in the toss as well. That's one of the reasons why he decided to ball first because he wanted to have that slight advantage that Duckworth Lewis gives you when you're chasing because you can be you can understand when or how much wickets you can keep in your pocket. You can plan a lot better when you're chasing as opposed to when you're setting a target in conditions which bring for Duckworth Lewis. And that's where I feel, if until and unless something like that happens, it's not going to be easy because this England team has been again picking at the right time. We saw how well they control the middle overs against India. They did not let the Indian batting order get through. Of course, there were certain tactical errors by India as well, which we spoke about in the previous slide. But you have to
Hmm.
give credit to England. They're picking in the right time. Adil Rashid is looking good today with the square boundaries being the longer boundaries. Unlike what we saw in Adelaide, he will really come into picture. He will be a little bit more effective in terms of the boundary conditions. And also in the pitch report, Ian Bishop did say that there are patches of dry grass and green grass, which means bowling is going to be a little bit more. What do you say? Batting is going to be a little bit more difficult because you're not going to be able to understand or pick easily where the ball is going to be pitching and what the ball is going to be doing. The green patches of pitches are going to give you a little bit more bounce, a little bit more swing, not swing but rather seam, and at the same time those dry pitches they're
And
going to
I
make it
also think now with the larger square boundaries, it's going to be so important for the bowlers to ball in the right length. Because in
yeah
Melbourne, you often see bowlers want to hit you to the longer end compared to what you see in maybe Adelaide or anywhere else. So the lengths are going
yeah
to be much more shorter, and that's why English bowlers also will have this in mind. Like so, Chris Wokes especially to ball short, hit the ball short. But for Pakistan, to their advantage, Mark Wood is not playing. Mark would have been even more lethal in a ground like this, where he would have tried to bounce out Rizwan and Babar and Mohammad Aris, for example, who's a rookie in this team. But here they are going to be facing bowlers who are comparatively slower in terms of pace, and they still can go for runs. They're not the best bowling attack on paper, and they can leak a lot of runs as well if things don't go their way. When it comes to Adil Rashid as well, he did get a lot of help in Adelaide, but he's still not yet come to the party. Pakistan for likes of maybe Shadab Khan, maybe if they promote a left-hander, likes of Nawaz, if they promote him at number 3, number 4, they can really target likes of Adil Rashid and Liam Livingston, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean that's what Pakistan will be looking at, right? I mean they will be looking for Mohammad Nawaz to come to the party finally, and he can be that X factor player. He hasn't really come to the party this World Cup. In fact, he's
Yeah.
been at the wrong time, wrong place at the wrong time most often than not. I mean the India match where he had to defend, that amount of runs, and Ashwin got him away for that last ball single where he balled a wide as well against
Hmm.
Zimbabwe when he took a dot ball and then got out the next delivery when against South Africa, when he got out on the dead ball, which possibly could have been a dead ball if he had reviewed it.
Yeah.
It's just been that kind of, it's been that kind of a tournament for him. And I would say a little bit of criticism for Babar as well because he's never really trusted Nawaz after that India game or after the Zimbabwe game, especially because not giving him a lot of chance to ball. He's not being pushed up the order also as much. I still feel, maybe you could, I mean, I can understand Pakistan were chasing a very, what do you say, a lofty target at that point in time. They wanted to go everything right, and maybe that's the reason why they felt now Nawaz is not your safer bet, and he was not. But
Yeah, he
maybe
was.
you would still say a player like that who's done quite a lot for you, who was one of your stars in Asia Cup, you would have wanted to turn around. It could have been a risk that he could have taken, but then we know about Babar. He's a very safe captain, so I don't really see him pushing up Nawaz today because for that one reason that kind of trust that was shown to him in Asia Cup, you're not seeing that trust anymore in this tournament. But other than that, I think that would be a very good ploy, especially because we saw what Adil Rashid and Liam Livingston did
Yeah.
against India the other day. Today they're going to
Hmm.
be a lot more, especially Liam Livingston is going to be a lot more, effective because Liam Livingston, I think Adil Rashid still, I would say, sometimes can struggle on pitches where you require
I
to
think
ball a
Liam
little.
Livingston can be neutralized today because he's not a best bowler. I don't know. India show a lot of respect to him, but I think Pakistani batters, especially some good spin hitters in the middle, likes of Shadab, even Iftikhar to an extent. He's not the best of spin hitters because his record against pace bowling was much better. But I think maybe Shadab and Nawaz can be the
I
two
think
spin
that's
hitters that
where,
can be used.
for me, Liam Livingston can be useful in a way that England loves to play cricket. England would be okay if Liam Livingston goes for 30 runs in 3 overs but picks up 2 wickets. That's what they'll be looking at the end of the day. I mean, because I think that's one thing he can do because as you mentioned, they will be going after Liam Livingston. That's why maybe you will see Liam Livingston is a clever bowler, by the way. He's not probably the most skilled bowler, you wouldn't say that, but he's very clever. He picks the right lens. He can make it difficult. He won't. I mean, he won't be someone who'll beat you in the air, or he'll probably ball a magic delivery or something of that sort. But he's someone who's very clever. He'll play the ground dimensions really well. He will make sure that you are
Yeah.
you are the one who has to play a tremendous shot to get him away. And that's where maybe Josh Butler might use him, especially because Pakistan again is a right hand dominant team. Also, I mean, I don't know if I mean also when you might see if
I really don't see an effect of Liam Livingston in this ground, especially with the overcast conditions and pitch not offering a lot of turn MCG. I think Adil Rashid is the only bowler who can make a lot of impact, and Moeen Ali to an extent I believe can come in handy because Shan Masood and Nawaz can be the two left-handers they'll use to counter Adil Rashid. That's why you can maybe deploy someone like Moeen Ali and see how he goes, because Moeen Ali is a very good bowler. When it comes to bigger ground dimensions, he has got a better loop out there, and he
Yeah.
can maybe trouble a lot of batters. Not trouble,
He can
he can
also
maybe
beat someone, people in the air. He has a drift, not
yeah.
drift rather, but that loopy delivery that he balls. So yeah,
I
you're
think
right in
couple
that.
is gonna be who's gonna bat better, and especially England is a totally batting heavy side. They believe they can outbat any team. Hence, they've got batting to 11, which no other team has got. And for
Yeah.
Pakistan, the only way they will be looking to win is by restricting that batting force. So it is between a good bowling attack and the best batting attack. So who is going to win it? You'll know at the end of the day. And it's a tough
I
thing for
think
this very reason, because England
for me,
always
even that's
do.
why. Yeah. Go ahead. Finish it off. Yeah.
Good, good, good,
Yeah, what I
good.
was trying to
Yeah.
say for me, Abel, the team that gets most wickets in the power play is going to be the team that's going to win because both the teams have weak middle order. That's their soft underbelly. So
But I
whoever
still
exposes
think,
the
Jaren, Pakistan's middle order is better than England's at this point, because in this World Cup, Pakistan's middle order is what stepped up. So I think it's unfair to say Pakistan's middle order is bad, because this World Cup has all been about Pakistan's middle order. Iftikhar has stepped up, Shadab had stepped up, Mohammad Haris had stepped up to an extent, Shan Masood had done well. So this World Cup, comparatively saying, Pakistan's middle order is better suited, better placed than England's middle order at this point, because England's middle order, you saw they've been tested on multiple occasions, and Teju also said it could be Ben Stokes' redemption. Yeah, Ben
yeah.
Stokes did play well against Sri Lanka as well, but here is an opportunity. He believes in these
I
crunch
mean,
moments.
he was the one who let go of the match in the last World Cup final, right? I mean, the 2016 World Cup final, where he
Yeah.
balled that final over. He went for quite a few runs. People don't remember Carlos Brathwaite anymore, I suppose, but they still do remember Ben Stokes. And so it's time that he gets this one monkey off his back. And you never know, because today's conditions are a little bit more suited to a bowler like him. He loves bowling that heavy delivery, he loves bowling, hitting the deck. And especially in the power play, you might see a little bit of swing, which we saw him swing the ball against India as well in Adelaide when he got that help. In Melbourne, it's traditionally known to swing the ball. I think Melbourne has the best swing overall throughout all the venues. I think it's 1.8 degrees average swing that we've seen in Melbourne, which I think even Pakistani bowlers will be really happy about. Shaheen Shah Afridi, I think, is the. I mean, right now in these two teams, Shaheen Shah Afridi swung the ball the most in terms of the degree of swing that he's got. So that's going to be one good news for Pakistan. But yeah, I think that's the reason why power play, and I'll tell you why I feel in crunch situations, right? Pakistan will always look at Babar Azam and Mohammad Rizwan to guide their batting. That's what I really
Yeah.
feel, because even though I mean you can argue that yeah their mid order has been really good, they've really stepped up. I feel if the best chance that England has is to expose the middle order, because that's when you can put some pressure, put the pressure on them, put pressure, and it's a big final. Because sometimes when you usually see the crowd, that crowd can be your support, can be the wind at your back. But when you're not doing well, when you're going against the current, that can push you back. I mean, we saw that. I mean, the kind of silence that MCG could produce if England starts doing well. That's what England will be hoping for. So we saw that
No,
against India as well. When
that's
that
what they'll
silence
thrive
came
on as
in,
well. Like exactly what they did in
yeah,
Adelaide. There
exactly.
was a brief moment where Indian crowd was getting into it, but then they silenced it with the bat. They really knew how to
Yeah,
counter attack them and put the crowd into silence. And that's exactly if they can do that, they'll believe they are in the game. And
yeah,
because I think crowd will be a factor to an extent, especially in a ground like MCG and against an opposition like England, because Pakistanis will look to outnumber the Englishmen. So
yeah,
that's where I personally believe England team will have to look to silence the crowd to any extent and make sure that they don't come into play a lot more, because once Pakistan starts doing well, which also will mean that Pakistan crowd is also going to be involved
yeah,
in the
yeah.
game. That's going to be added pressure on the Englishmen going into this World Cup final, because World Cup final is always a different game altogether. Who is going to
Absolutely.
play this like a normal game will win the game, because a team
Yeah,
who's going to think about it a lot more, think about it like a World Cup final, is going to definitely have a tough time. And that's why I think for England at least, they will look to put up a target. Maybe they'll look to chase around a target of 150, 160, much more comfortable. Anything next to 175 can be very tricky. 170 is a good,
hmm,
very, very good total in MCG, considering the Pakistani
yeah,
bowling lineup. Because I don't think they've considered anything in excess of 170 the entire tournament. So
yeah,
that's why England will look to restrict them, pick up wickets, because wickets is the only way to go in this World Cup. And who do you think can be the X factor player for England, especially when it comes to their bowling?
I think in terms of the bowling now, that's where it's going to be a little bit difficult because you don't have Mark Wood. Last match we had Adil Rashid being the player, I would say, out of the, I mean, the best player because he got the better Indian batter out. He really put England India under pressure. Today though, I think Adil Rashid won't be that effective. For me, Abel, I would say Chris Wokes because that new ball is bound to swing, and Chris Wokes can can be the player who can hit that deck and get the ball to move away and come back in. I think he could be that player. He's got a tight lens, especially against, I think, Babar and Rizwan, who get some time going. I mean, need some time to get going. They won't straight away, go after him and disrupt the line unless Pakistan really comes swinging, which I really hope they do because no one expecting them to really come swinging. If they do that, I think they did that against New Zealand, and that meant that they seemed so confident, and that's where I feel the way they played against New Zealand. That's the reason why I feel they will start out as strong, for me at least, strong favorites. I know not many people are saying that because on paper England are the team that has done very well throughout. Pakistan is still looked to have a lot of chinks, and they didn't look like they were qualifying. England still, you felt like England's job to come to the finals were much easier compared to what Pakistan's were. I think that's a simple fact. That's the reason why I think Pakistan would believe a lot more that comeback ability of Pakistan would be stronger because they've already done it. They've come back from the dead. So I think that's where maybe you need Chris Wokes to really get a few wickets in the power play, put Pakistan under pressure because they're setting a target. Remember, and Pakistan are not very good when they're setting a target because they can sometimes be indecisive. They can sometimes go at it too hard, or most often than not, what they do is they go at it a little too slow and they leave too much to their bowlers. So that's where maybe you can really have someone like Chris Wokes come in and deliver today.
Yeah, interesting that you say that. And for Pakistan also, they would want someone like a Mohammad Harris to step up to the occasion. And for him, he's going to be an X factor player because England haven't seen a lot of him. And it also depends on the kind of way he's going to approach this game because he's got nothing to lose. He's a youngster with baggage who's playing baggage for cricket, and that's what's going to be
Hmm.
interesting, right? If he's going to come out swinging and if he's going to score maybe quick 30, 40 runs, the momentum is going to all of a sudden shift to Pakistan. Then it's going to be up to the Pakistani middle order to help them reach a total of 170, next year 165 plus, which I think is going to be excellent in this ground. And ground dimension is so important. And if Pakistani bowling attack, they'll be really looking to pitch the ball short. Though English batters really enjoy the ball coming onto the bat at a good pace, but if they can use a ground dimension to their favor, maybe Alex Sales is someone who has struggled against left arm pace, and Josh
Yeah,
Butler earlier on can be susceptible to balls coming in. Maybe Naseem Shah is going to be so important there.
Josh
And
Butler has an
side of
average
the
of only 18 against Pakistan, so which is something Pakistanis will be really happy about. He hasn't really been the player for England against Pakistan. I mean,
yeah,
that's
that's true.
something that, yeah,
That's where it's going to be very interesting to see how things go from there.
yeah,
And for Pakistan, in my opinion as well, their bowling, it's all up to their bowling. Someone like Mohammad Wasim Jr., how he's going to bowl, especially through the middle overs, because middle overs is where the big hitters are going to come. Like the Liam Livingston, Moeen Ali. Liam Livingston has got a very good record against Pakistan. He loves playing the pace bowling. He loves the pace on the ball. The best way to
yeah,
ball, or Liam Livingston will personally ask for is a pace on the ball, and that's why I think Shadab is also going to play a very crucial role today. How his lengths are going to be him through the middle overs is going to be very important. I think he's got a job with the bat as well, and yeah, let's see. It's going to be very interesting from
for
how
me,
things are going to go from here on.
yeah. For me, I think England. That's where I think for me, England's batting order, you'll probably see Moeen Ali being a factor, an X factor player for England because he could be that player who could come in and counter, the likes of Shadab Khan and Mohammad Nawaz, especially because I think Babar will be a little bit, if you send him up the order or if you send him when you feel like Shadab is going to start operating, Babar has this tendency to hide his leg spinner and his left arm, especially his left arm spinner away from the left-handers. So that could be, kind of disrupting Babar's plans. And this is the kind of tournament, this is the kind of match where you really need to, push opposition captains to their plan B, something they're not comfortable with. I think that's something you need to try and make sure that the captain is not settled. He is not feeling confident of the decision he's making. He needs to be put under that, uncertainty of whether I should go with the bowler or not. If, to be very honest, if England forces Nawaz out early into the, make Nawaz ball early because Babar hasn't really trusted him as much. And even Against New Zealand, Nawaz
I
bowled
think
brilliant,
you know what,
and
I
he still
think we
only
can
got two
talk about
overs.
that even in the second innings, because we're going to be doing a
Yeah,
watch along in the second innings, and that's the best
absolutely.
time to come and talk about this. At this point, we are going to take a break because the match is going to start right now in like a couple of minutes. So we'll take a break. We'll come back in the second innings and talk about it in detail. We're going to do a complete watch along. Whoever is watching us, please do join us so we can give you some bit of excitement to see how things go. Bye bye. Have a good time, all of you. Have a good final. All the best to all the Pakistani fans, and you'll really
Yeah.
be hoping that the cup is coming home, not to England, but to Pakistan. Bye bye.
Bye, guys.